streets are being patrolled by gangs. They're scum, just like you. And they're here to hunt you down and cut you up. I'll try to direct you as best I can, but other than that, you're on your own. It's up to you. Okay, are you ready? Camera, action.
In the early 2000s, Rockstar would go on an MVP-esque run, releasing titles within the GTA series, The Warriors, Bully, Max Payne, and even the game I'm covering today. Enter 2004's Manhunt. While a part of Rockstar's golden era, it's one that's somewhat of an anomaly as it strays the farthest away from Rockstar's usual safe grounds of beat-em-ups and free-roam characteristics. This one becomes more of a stealth, survival horror, action thriller approach. Yeah, I know it's a mouthful, but just hear me out. This game is somewhat of an early masterpiece and a bit of a crazy limb Rockstar went on. I personally remember seeing this game on the shelves and asking for it immediately. I was drawn to the grimy aesthetic it gave off, and once I popped it in my PS2, I was glued by its VHS intro and creepy visuals. The intro music really does the tone of this game so much justice too. The game starts out with our protagonist, James Earl Cash. He's mostly silent and somewhat just serves as a vessel for this killing rampage. He's a death row inmate who was freed on the day of his execution, only to find out he's in the custody of a weird fetish machine by the name of Starkweather. Voiced by the late great Brian Cox. You never know what's gonna pop out as you progress through the mission. He pretty much is our narrator in a sense, talking you through an earpiece, commenting on everything we do in the game. For better, or for worse. He sometimes gives really great one-liners like this.
The tramp. Where's the fucking tramp, Cash? That was one killer shot. Attaboy.
But he also just gets really annoying when he constantly bugs you. I mean, Jesus, the guy will literally yell at you if you're in the shadows for too long like a needy child, like this.
Nasty, smelly. Come on. Stop hiding and give me gore.
The main objective, though, is to essentially create this epic snuff film where you go through different stages of different enemy setups, ranging from gang members, racists, cops, and even super soldiers going through, sneaking up to them and killing them. And they can say some pretty funny shit while looking for you in the shadows.
I'm so sorry, honey, I never meant it.
Brian.
Pairing that with a different level design, they got all the hits playing, with the creepy crack houses, junkyards, a Scarface mansion, and even later we go in this vibrant looking casino, which adds a really nice contrast, keeping the game setting and level design fresh. You're graded on your performance based on your variety of weapons and your difficulty at kills. Each weapon has a 3-tier system based on how long you spend behind sneaked up on your enemy. The easy one is the clear one. You just walk up and whack them, that's it. The yellow one will take a couple seconds. And finally, the red one is the motherload, which takes like 5 or 6 seconds. That's the one where Starkweather will really get his rocks off. Starkweather will get mad if you just spam the same weapon and the same tier, so you have to mix it up if you want his approval and end the mission with a rating out of 5 stars. It's a good way to get you to think creative. I suck at stealth mechanics, so I never really got a full 5, but the system definitely kept you thinking twice about taking it easy. Missions do not have much weapon variety, and it kinda stinks that a game based around killing people has this problem. And it's due to either every enemy carrying the same weapon or baseball bat, or the mission requiring you to have that specific weapon. You'll find yourself being forced to use a bat or a crowbar and sit through endless kill cutscenes of the one you've seen before. And yeah, maybe I could write that off as it being a PS2 game, but I can't really imagine nobody in the laboratory didn't have a thought about this issue. Towards the middle of the game, we're introduced to the gunplay aspect, which surprisingly is fun for a PS2 game. I was expecting wonky aiming and shitty physics, and while yes, it's exactly that for the most part, it still provides such a fun aspect of the game. The auto aim sucks, and doesn't exactly aim at the person I want to kill, but it's got that old 2000 charm I have a soft spot for. I mean, nothing is more satisfying than getting a headshot on these bastards who's been giving you shit the whole mission. Some missions, like the mission Doing Time, it splits up with one part being all stealth until you reach a point where guns are necessary. It's kind of crazy that these devs essentially created two different game styles and meshed it very well in such a natural way. There's some genuine fun to be had with these missions, like in View of Innocence, the whole setting's a mall and Cash just goes on this killing spree. The whole thing is a killer time.
Cut him into strips!
But word of advice, keep the shotgun on you or the assault rifle because those things are absolutely broken in the game and it's so fun. There are some gripes I have with the game design though. Towards the end we face a bunch of enemy rush missions where it feels like Rockstar just kind of ran out of ideas and just threw whatever they wanted us. Don't get me wrong, I like a good challenge, but I feel like some of these missions are the same. Like there's 2 railroad missions and 3 mansion missions back to back to back to back. It would have maybe been a better experience if they just blended some together because towards the end I was just getting annoyed at how cheap the enemies were getting and I was just kind of ready for it to end.
I ain't sticking my head out until some of you guys turn up. Rapid reaction here, boys.
The story is basically just a means to get the game to progress. Cash, like I said, he's basically silent the whole game. Maybe it was due to time constraints, but it feels like they wanted to have Cash to have some depth, as there is some parts of the game where he does have a voice actor.
Pull over! Pull over!
He says some random shit too, so it kind of begs the question, why do they care so little about it at times?
Get off of me! I'm a reporter! I was at your execution!
Keep talking.
I've been following Starkweather's little operation for months.
Who's Starkweather?
The guy that's been talking you through this whole circus of death? Look, I've got all I...
I'd rather either of them care about it or not care about it at all. Like, there's a mission where his family's being held hostage, and to save them, you have to sneak around and avoid getting caught. I managed to save them all except for the last one, and yeah, I guess it's sad she died, but to be honest, I found myself not caring at all due to me not knowing shit about Cash. Sorry, man, but it's not my sister.
Let's go.
After that, there's little to nothing that lets us in on the personal side of Cash, so it just begs the question, what the fuck was the point? Besides Starkweather, however, we have 2 minor antagonists, one being Ramirez, a crazed military soldier appointed to hunt down Cash by Starkweather. The other is a snuff film star known as Pigsy. Probably the most famous thing to come out of this game, Pigsy has body language similar to Leatherface from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies. He runs around with a chainsaw covered in blood. He wears a dead pig on his head too, donning the name Pigsy. These guys both serve some pretty good challenges to the game, and I feel like Manhunt could have benefited from adding a couple more characters as boss fights.
He's home!
Eventually Starkweather turns heel on you. He double crosses you and the later levels turn into you hunting him down, infiltrating his home turf, going up to the highest room and killing him. And this boss fight is ridiculously easy in comparison to all the shit they throw at you before. It's just kinda whatever, to be honest. We have a chainsaw against a man with a handgun who can't shoot for shit, so who do you think comes out with the victory?
I made you!
While I'm not completely mad at it due to Starkweather just being annoying as hell, even if I had to kick his ass with a pillow, I would have been just as satisfied. After killing Stark, Cash escapes, nowhere to be found. I don't really know if it's exactly a happy ending because of former death row inmates on the loose, but at least in Cash's sweet little eyes, he's happy.
Residential district. In what investigators are calling a bloody vendetta, an unknown assailant infiltrated the compound, killing Starkweather, but more interestingly, leading police to the site of a snuff film ring being run from the estate's confines. Linked to this ring is Carcer City's own police chief, Gary Schaefer, whose lawyer stated that he intends to plead not guilty.
Overall, despite my gripes though, I feel as if Manhunt is a must-play. It's a fascinating title in Rockstar's catalog and an often forgotten one at that. Stealth mechanics are something Rockstar never really heavily focused on before or after this, and the creepy aspects almost make it hard to believe they even made this in the first place. It's a great game despite having a weak third act, and it reminds me of simpler times. Many AAA studios rely on 60-hour epics or constant money-making online games to make or break their companies, and yeah, that's where the money's at right now.
Sometimes I would just prefer a nice 10 to 15 hour round with great gameplay and great level design like Manhunt was. Thank y'all for watching my first review. I look forward to doing many more, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video.